Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 33 of the Break-Thru Active podcast. As always, I'm here with Mitch. How are you?
Good, thanks, mate. Friday afternoon, like it always is when we doing these podcasts. So it's been another big week in the gym. I've had some really solid attendance all week, which has been great. I think the improvement in the weather in the last few weeks has definitely lit a fire underneath the butt of a few people. So it's been great to see so many people so regularly in the gym the last couple of weeks. It's been awesome.
And this morning was pull-ups, which we're both big fans of, because you mentioned it on Facebook before, but there is something satisfying about pulling yourself over a bar and just the ability to handle your own body weight in general.
Yeah, I think it's something that a lot of people, if they haven't done them before, albeit with some support from the bands, they feel as though that they would never be able to do it, and they feel as though it's something that they would never be able to achieve. But a lot of people are proving them to themselves that they're a lot stronger than what they may have thought. And like I mentioned as well, a lot of people starting to get some real improvements and seeing some progress with their strength, which is great for their own motivation, but also great to see that their hard work has been paying off.
And the word functional training is thrown around a lot. I don't agree with a lot of it. However, pulling yourself over a bar or hanging onto something certainly is functional in terms of just like everyday skills. It improves your grip strength. It gives your shoulders a really good stretch in that end position. It's just a wonderful, wonderful movement.
Well, I mentioned, what if you get caught hanging off a cliff one day? How are you going to be able to pull yourself up if you haven't ever practiced it? So
yeah,
never know when you might need it.
Speaking of Cliffhanger is a wonderful movie, and I'll watch that tonight.
Yeah, is that Stallone?
Stallone and John Lithgow, and it is one of the most violent movies you'll ever see. It's got nothing to do with hanging off a cliff.
It's just at the beginning when he's hanging off the cliff, isn't it?
Yeah, looking very muscular. Then, spoiler,
yeah. I think he does a one-arm muscle up.
Yeah, spoiler, his girlfriend drops to her death as he puts the clip on wrong. So when we're doing pull-ups in the gym, we'll make sure the bands are on correctly because we don't want another cliffhanger situation.
No. And I don't think anyone will take too much offense to this, but we don't have anyone built like Sylvester Stallone in the 1990s that comes into our gym. So the one-arm unassisted muscle up might be a bit off the cards for most people.
At least for now.
Yeah, give it a few weeks.
Right. Today's topic, simple. 3 points, 3 tips, I guess our advice on how to ensure that you are exercising consistently. And we always preach 3 sessions a week. So what are your 3 tips? What are our 3 tips to ensure you're training 3 times a week? And these are so simple. Some of you might think them silly. These are just our own personal opinion.
Yeah, I think it has to be simple though. I think it is something that if it is overcomplicated, then it can become too complex for people, and people end up overthinking it and start to think that it's this big process that needs to be followed. But we have found there are a few very simple things that we can do that makes a huge difference in adding to the regularity of your training and ensuring that you do fulfill the plans that you might make at the beginning of the week. So the first one, which I know you're a big advocate of in terms of how it applies to work as well, but it is having your clothes prepared the night before. And this obviously pertains more so to people who train in the morning. But I think anyone listening can always, we'll have an example at times where they really wanted to train and they, woke up in the morning and then they realized that they hadn't got their clothes out the night before. They were going to have to rummage through their wardrobe, rummage through the dirty clothes or their clean clothes that hadn't been folded yet. And just the thought of that all becomes too much in their minds and they end up just not doing it at all.
Yeah, and the way I describe it is we're in a drag car. We're going down the strip. There's about a 1 minute window that everything's got to go perfect for me, and there could be no speed bumps along the way, right? So if especially on the weekend, let's say it's Sunday and I haven't got as structured a day due to not working, if I go to the gym in the morning, which I usually do, my clothes are literally in the bathroom. So I wake up, I wipe my eyes, I clean my teeth, my clothes are exactly where they should be. And before you know it, I'm in the car and out the door. However, there's been times in the past where the night before, I haven't done that process. I haven't got my clothes out. I'm rummaging around. I'm waking Ellen up. She's getting the shits. The lights are on. The blinds are open. Dogs are barking. And I go back to bed.
Very considerate of you.
Yeah, I know. So for the sake of my relationship and my health, I truly believe in being prepared in terms of where, even like, especially for me, like I lose everything, like my keys, my wallet, my phone, everything, even like a cold bottle of water, everything that's going to make the gym experience easier and better, I do.
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to touch on then. It's not just clothes, but everything that you need for the gym. You know, shoes, obviously keys, water bottle, towel, because sometimes it can just be one of those things that you can't find. If you haven't got your water bottle and you're racing around the house, where thinking, "Where's my water bottle?" and you go to the cupboard where it's normally kept and it's not there, and then all of a sudden you're 3 minutes behind and you're going to be late, and all of a sudden that can be enough just to have you not go and say, "Oh, bugger it today. I'm not going to do it. I'll try again tomorrow." So it is something that is so simple, but so important in that process. And it goes to afternoon, people who train in the afternoon as well, because a lot of the time, if people are coming straight from work, if they don't have their clothes with them, obviously, then they might think, "Oh, I'm just going to detour by home, quickly grab my clothes and head back." And I think we all know how difficult it is to get back out of the house after a long day of work. And I think a lot of the time when you go inside and you maybe sit down for a minute, then it's all over. So being prepared in that sense, and having your clothes with you at work, obviously having your shoes, water, all that stuff, so you are ready to go to make your session. Because like you mentioned, that race car analogy, race car, is that what you said?
Drag car going down the strip,
Drag
1 minute. Everything's
car.
got to go right or the car explodes.
Yeah, it's a good analogy because it can be something just so small that can set it off. So something that simple, I feel like a lot of people may overlook the importance of it, but we really feel like it makes a massive difference for people.
Okay. Step number 2 is for our members and even ourselves, book in your sessions for the week ahead. Plan what time you are going to train. And they are as important as a doctor's appointment. Because as far as I'm concerned, they prevent the doctor.
Yeah, that's a very good point. But it's something that's obviously been a bit of a different process for our members the last few months, because previously we hadn't had booking software. And there was a multitude of reasons why we wanted to get booking software. And first and foremost, it was for COVID, because obviously we, for a while there, and we still are, limited with how many people we are allowed in sessions due to restrictions. But on top of that, we feel as though if people have just got it in their minds that they're going to be training in the morning, they haven't told anyone, they haven't mentioned to their partner, they haven't said it to anyone else, it's just in their mind that they're going to go, then they haven't really made a full commitment to it. Whereas if you have booked it in, you've put your name down, Jamie Richardson, 6 a.m., Adamstown, then you put it into the universe, you're going. And potentially you are taking that spot away from someone else. So we feel as though, for the most part, and it is very rare that we do have people that are booked in and then don't come. We feel as though that's something that is very positive, that when people book, they more likely than not will show up. So we feel as though booking in those sessions just makes a big difference in the mentality of you following through with your commitment. And it was something we were always a little bit unsure of, because we haven't really had booking software and hadn't really required people to book in back before the days we're doing personal training. And obviously you would organize and schedule people in for that, and attendance was always fantastic for personal training. And we're a little bit unsure if that would relay over to the group environment, but we feel as though it has worked very well. But sitting down on a Sunday night when you've got some time and planning out your week and thinking, okay, these days I can make it these times, and these days I'm going to make it these times. And obviously we know things come up, and that's why obviously you are able to manage your own bookings and cancel or reschedule. But if you have a look at your week ahead and you've got your work roster in front of you, and you've got your other time commitments there as well, and you're able to fit in, make time for the gym, and put that, like I said, into Wodify, so you've got some set schedules to keep, then we find that's really positive for people.
Yeah, and just have enough self-awareness to realize that if 1 week you can't come Thursday, Friday, goal is always 3, and that's what we talk about. Book in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Just plan ahead your weeks. The same way you should, I guess, plan your food, you can plan when you're going to exercise. Book it in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just that there's something in the mentality and the psyche of people when you make that commitment, you make a booking, you make an appointment, then you're more likely to follow through on it, as opposed to if it was just in your mind.
Okay, tip number 3, which goes on from tip number 2, which I think is even more important and a stronger sign of a commitment to a session, is every single person that we train at Cardiff and Adamstown, you probably have one good friend. We have lots of friends, but there's probably one person that you talk to a lot, that you often partner up with, that you often buddy with. Message them the night before. So tip number 3 is message your training partner or accountability buddy or whatever you want to call that person, and let them know that you're coming. And if you do those 3 things, you prepare your clothes, book in on Modify, and message your training partner, you're coming.
Yeah, absolutely. We've spoke about this a couple of podcasts ago when we addressed how, a few of the examples we have with people who have found some really good training buddies and accountability buddies and have now become very good friends. But, like you mentioned, we want to make it as easy as possible. And if you think about it, let's say it's a Sunday night and you've got your workout clothes ready, you've booked in for the morning at 6 a.m. You've messaged your training partner, hey, I'm booked in for the morning, are you coming along? Then that's 3 things that we feel like are all working in your favor to make sure that you get there in the morning. And if one of those hasn't happened, or 2 of those, or of course all 3 of those, then it is far less likely that you will turn up Monday morning. Obviously, this isn't for everyone, but we find that for the most part, we all need as much help as possible to stay accountable and to stay consistent. But we feel as though that accountability buddy or training buddy, a lot of the time it has happened organically with people. And we have, we've spoke about this, but lots of friendships that have flourished through Break-Thru. And, we see people that come in all the time together. And pretty much if their partner doesn't come, then they don't come, or more or less. But if you haven't got that person, then I feel like that there is someone out there who you do chat to and you do train with a lot, and you probably have friends on Facebook, and I'm sure they would really appreciate if you send them a message on any given night and said, hey, you're training tomorrow at this time, and I'll be there, so I hope to catch you then. And then it's just that little commitment that you make that makes it all the more likely for you to go.
We've said this before too, but you are far likely to let yourself down than to let someone else down. If you tell someone that you've just met like a day earlier or a week earlier or a month earlier, you're still trying to make a good impression on that person. You're not going to let them down and not show up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how good habits build. It's early on in the piece. So if you are, a little bit newer to everything, or maybe you have been a little more inconsistent with your training, the way that you do build good habits is to do things consistently for, obviously the initial period of time, and that you create momentum. So the first couple of weeks, if you're in good habits, you're messaging your training buddy, you're coming 3 times a week, then that second month is going to feel a whole lot easier than the first month. The third month is going to feel a whole lot easier than the first 2 months. And then it just snowballs from there. So it all starts at the beginning, and having good habits and developing good practices to help with that.
Do you have any bonus tips, mate?
I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about what it is that I do to help get myself training. And one thing I wanted to address as well was looking at the workout plan. Sometimes that can go both ways for people. I feel as though that if it is something that is, obviously going to be very challenging, like let's say yesterday's workout on Thursday, that depending on the person could be enough to deter some people. And then today's workout was a little bit more friendly, and maybe it was a little bit more inviting for others. So if you feel like you are the type of person that maybe tries to avoid some of those more challenging workouts, or tries to cherry pick your workouts a bit, or tries to maybe only do those things that you're better at. Like, let's just say, for instance, you're really strong with your deadlifts. So if there's deadlifts on there, you're going to come along. But if there's some running in there and you're not a great runner, then you avoid it. It really should be the other way around, where you should be trying to do the running more so you get better. But that's a discussion for another day. But if you are the type of person that does maybe is a little more selective with your workouts, and I would probably encourage you not to look at that workout the night before. If you are the type of person that is going to turn up regardless, and you need a little bit of extra motivation just to help get you in, and you like checking the workout, then so be it. But maybe try to categorize yourself a little bit if you are guilty of maybe sometimes avoiding some of those more challenging workouts, even though it was a day that you planned on coming, then maybe look at stop in doing that, because it is obviously starting to impact what days you're coming, and that's not what we want.
Yeah. And for those people that avoid workouts, I challenge you to put yourself into an uncomfortable situation. Because the only way that you're going to become comfortable with it and get better at it is just by doing things that you don't want to do. And we should all do things that we don't want to do. Like it can't always be that easy. It can't always be instant gratification. You can't always get what you want every single day.
No, and even just very logically looking at it, like using my example, if you're good at deadlifts and you're not good at running, logic would tell you that you should do more running, and there's not as much need to do deadlifts because you're already good at them. So if it was going to be one or the other, you're better off doing the running. I understand that people still want to enjoy their workouts and everything, but if it is impacting, your consistency and your attendance, then I would probably advise you not to look at the workouts and just show up just like we used to have for a whole, forever.
And that exact example, you might think that everyone else is better than you at running and it makes you feel bad. They're looking at you thinking you're better than them at deadlifting.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything that, I mean, obviously you've used the clothes example, but is there anything for you that you've used in the past that's helped you get yourself moving in the morning or get yourself to the gym?
Even my breakfast, it needs to be, because I have a protein shake and a protein bar for breakfast most mornings. And I usually have that while I'm driving to the gym. And that is like let's use the word anchor. So I'm dressed, I'm having a shake and bar, which I both really enjoy those foods. And I'm listening to like some basketball interviews or a UFC interview. And my journey to the gym is a very pleasurable experience. And like everything around the gym I like doing, which encourages me to go more.
Yeah. And I think the benefit that everyone has at the gym that you don't is when they turn up, all the hard work's done, because we take it from there. We're deciding what you're doing. We're pushing you to work hard. We're making sure you're doing everything the right way. They're not having to think about what should I do, how should I do it, how many reps, how long should I do this, am I doing this correctly? So we really feel as though, and we say this over and over and over again, if you're able to walk through the doors each day, then we'll do the rest.
Yeah.
I mean, we obviously want people to work hard, and we want people to have a positive attitude. We don't want people to whine and complain too much. But for the most part, if you're able just to turn up each day, then you're winning. We take it from there. So that's why all these things are so important, because we feel like 95% of the battle is just turning up each day. And if you are able to do that 3 times a week, what is it, 52 weeks a year, 156 times a year, 5 years in a row, that's 800 gym sessions, and all you need to do is get through the door, and then that's what we're here for.
Yeah. And bonus tip 4, or number 5, if we count yours 4, is if you're really, 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 really struggling, carpool.
Yeah.
It goes from step 3 for messaging your accountability buddy. Remember Kelly and Jules used to come to Balls End together in the morning? They'd carpool together. Carpool.
Like, swing by and pick them up.
But it all starts with self-awareness and understanding that if you struggle with that, because we have people that when they come to the gym, they absolutely love the workout, and sometimes their attendance can be sporadic. And for that person, they don't actually fear the gym workout. It's just getting there. It's just getting out of the house.
Yeah, exactly. It's just about turning up day in and day out. And like I said, we there are some people that we don't see as much as they'd want, and they are coming in, only once or twice a week perhaps, and when they're here, that they love it, and every time they say, I just need to get here more, and that's the conversation that we have with them, and that's why we felt the need just to give you guys a few of these tips, albeit very simple. But we feel like anything with training or nutrition, it does need to be simple, otherwise you're just not going to follow it. So it's nothing groundbreaking, but we feel as though these things are going to be definitely helpful for everyone.
If mine is having my clothes prepared the night before, what is yours?
Well, I was thinking in terms of like getting up for work, because obviously there's some mornings when you're running a little bit later than others, but I think the preparation side of things is really important. And I've even spoken to some people, and they say, oh, I woke up in the morning and wasn't sure if I was going to go, so I just didn't bother. So I think a big part of it is just making that decision the night before of when you're going to train the next day, because obviously we have 6 or 7 sessions each day, and we see it on Modify sometimes. You see them booked in at 6 a.m, then you see them booked in at 9:30 a.m, then you see them booked in at 4:15 p.m, and they don't end up showing up at all, and they just keep putting it off. So I don't really have anything revolutionary. I think just making the decision, and using Modify and speaking it out loud, accountability buddy, having everything ready, being prepared, making that decision of when you're going to train, and just hold yourself to that accountability, and be disciplined with that.
That exactly.
And
Sorry, you go ahead.
no, I just said, and using those other 3 things is going to help you, remain disciplined for that decision.
That exact sentence, I wasn't sure if I was going to go, so I just didn't go. Apply that logic to paying your bills. I was going to pay my bills, but I wasn't sure, so I just didn't pay them. I was going to put fuel in my car, but I wasn't sure, so I just didn't put fuel in my car. The idea is, if you can nail those 3 things or 4 things, those tips, from preparing your clothes to booking in, having an accountability buddy, or whatever you need, then that thought process should never go through your head ever again. It should never ever be that I wasn't sure I was going to go, so I didn't go. It was just, I go.
Yeah, and I guess part of what creates some strong discipline for me is I like to, and I talk to people about this, I say, think about how good you're going to feel after the workout.
Yeah.
And maybe you are lying in bed, maybe you're there the night before deliberating whether you should come or not. If you think, how good am I going to feel at 6:45 when I finish that session, and then I'm going to carry on with my day? How good do I normally feel when I'm leaving the gym, and how much better does my day feel when I've trained in the morning? Because obviously, you've had this feeling, dozens, hundreds of times before, after every time you've trained. So knowing that feeling of how good it does feel, and how satisfied, and how how good it does feel to have done that session, I feel like that helps motivate me, and just having that thought of thinking ahead of why you are doing this, and often that's enough just to get me doing it as well.
And on the other side, think about how bad you're going to feel if you don't go. When you wake up and you see the post on Facebook, strong, fit and healthy, and your friends that you've trained with for months and maybe years are in the gym doing the thing that you should be doing.
Yeah, agreed. So I think just to rehash those 3 things for everyone. So first one is be prepared: clothes, water bottle, towel, shoes, keys, wallet, everything you need for the gym. Second one was book yourself in to Waterfy. So obviously making that commitment, making it out loud, get it out of your head, get it onto paper, or get it into Waterfy. And then the third one is text or message, or contact your accountability buddy. And the second part to that is, if you haven't got one, try and find one. And then there are plenty of people in the gym who I'm sure you say good day to, and friends on Facebook turn up to the same session a couple of times a week. I feel like that they would like having someone at the other end of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, mate, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for listening. As always, guys, have a lovely, lovely weekend, and we'll be back every Friday, because that's our routine, to record another episode of this podcast.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye.